Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey. And today we have a little instant reaction to the first game of the season, the Chiefs and the Patriots. And Jeff, I think there's a little bit to talk about coming out of that game. We learned, I think, a few things that we were kind of unsure of. What do you say? Just going right into it right away.
I mean, I just feel good that NFL is finally back, man. I'm excited. But first of all, I didn't expect KC to actually win, and they looked really good. But
yeah,
man,
they did.
I mean, there's so many players on both of these teams that you can talk about. But I guess the first one would have to be Kareem Hunt, right?
Oh, by far. Like that. I mean, that's just insane. 246 total yards. 246 total yards and 3 touchdowns in your first game.
Yeah. So if you didn't think that he was going to be legit, I mean, I'll be honest, he surpassed even my expectations. I thought he was going to be good, but that performance was ridiculous. Like
it was. I didn't see that coming at all.
And then on the flip side, you got, the New England running game, which looks like they're very stuck in their roles. But Gillislee looks like he's going to pay dividends because that guy is a monster around the goal line, and man, do they use him. So yeah, three touchdowns for that guy. So
yeah, I was going to say he's not going to have to do much else as long as they keep giving him to the ball on the goal line. But I kind of worry about Tom Brady with that. It looked like all they were trying to do was just run the ball on the goal line with Gillislee. I mean, is Brady not going to get those little touchdowns anymore? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, I would think that he is actually the biggest question mark after this game. I mean, you have 267 yards with no touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, it's not that he played poorly. It's just that the offense wasn't running through him in the red zone. And it was, the team looked fine, right? You scored 27 points. You did get beat by a pretty good margin by a very good Kansas City team. But, this is one game, right? So you keep it in perspective.
Yeah, it's one game.
But, after this game, are you worried in the next one when he hits a good defense? Will you actually maybe look in other places? Like, where is your head at right now?
I'm still going to, if I have Brady on my team, I'm still holding out and I'm playing him yet. It's one game. If this happened week 9, we wouldn't be thinking too much of it if he'd been playing well. So we'll just see one more game. I mean, Patriots have had these kind of games before. I think it was probably against the Chiefs a couple years ago where this happened on a nationally televised game where they just got crushed. So I'm not too concerned yet. It was just odd. I thought they had this game won early on. It looked like the Patriots just going to roll. And I don't know. It didn't happen. I guess Kareem Hunt happened. That was just, and Alex Smith. What about Alex Smith? That was
okay. Alex Smith. 300. The type of numbers I thought Brady was going to, and Brady put up the type of numbers I thought Alex Smith was going to. And Alex Smith put up those numbers while his running backs did well. I mean, even Charkandrick West scored a touchdown with a nice little scamper there. So, if those guys can be productive, and Alex Smith is, throwing to Tyreek Hill, who once again looked wonderful in that. I tell you, man, KC, their offense looked really, really good. And I was not expecting them to look this good. Every single person on that one, besides for, Kelsey, I think that they went out of their way in order to take him out of the game. But
seems like it.
But he was the quietest one out of the bunch. Everyone kind of played the role. Everyone did well. Man, I don't know. I don't think, once again, I think Tom Brady will come back to being Brady. And I think Alex Smith will kind of retreat to being more of an Alex Smith type player, a little more conservative, a little, those touchdowns won't always be there. But it was very fun to see this KC team really kind of, spread its wings as far as offense go.
Well, and you say like Charkandrick West had the one carry the entire game. He ran for 21 yards and a touchdown. I don't know. That offensive line looked pretty good. If that's going to be the case, Hunt's going to have just a ridiculously good year if that offensive line is that good. Oh man. If West just goes in there and runs like that, it's going to be crazy.
Well, did you expect Kareem Hunt to be able to catch it as well as he did out of the backfield?
No, I guess that's surprised me too. Like rookie running backs, I feel like don't always come into it like that and just catch the ball all the time like that either. Just he had everything going. I mean, that one huge pass, receiving touchdown he had was just ridiculous. And I mean, I'm going against him in our main league, so it really hurt me a little bit there. It was a rough night in that regard, but man, I think I don't see how he doesn't sustain at least a very top. He's gonna be top 10 running back. He won't sustain that level of play, but how can you come on against the Patriots of all teams? And that's just, how does that happen? How does it happen?
And especially after the first or the fumble he had, he could have easily, as a rookie, just kind of, closed up shop. But I mean, he comes back immediately and scores a touchdown pretty much. I don't know. Jumping, I mean, we can talk all night about how great KC was, but jumping onto the other side, what did you see? I know no one scored a touchdown as far as the receiving game, but who did you see, and what in the Patriots offense did you see as far as wide receivers?
I mean, it looks like Brandon Cooks is going to be the same old Brandon Cooks and catch deep balls, and he might not be peppered with targets and catch a lot of balls, which kind of, he's going to have those kind of games. He the three for 88. I mean, that's the problem with Brandon Cooks, and that's what's going to happen sometimes. And that's always been my worry, is he's going to have some big plays, and he had, 54-yard catch. So it's a 154-yard catch gives him the 88 yards. If he didn't get that catch, it's a 2 for 34? Like, that's my worry with him, and it doesn't seem like it's any different this year.
And what do you think about Amendola, though? Because I'll be honest, when Julian Edelman went down, I was a guy saying that, hey, Amendola is not going to be the one to catch. I mean, do you think this is kind of a one-game thing that he just had the opportunity?
I think it's still a one-game thing. I think it's the Patriots. You still can't. You don't know for sure. I mean, Hogan only had 1 for 8. That was kind of surprising. And then Gronk 2 for 33. Where I know they targeted him more, and he actually almost caught that touchdown in the first half that he just barely dropped. So if he catches that, his game looks great. I'm still not worried about it yet, but it's just something we got to see another week or two of. If it continues like it did this week, then there's some concern there, but I don't think it will. I think Kansas City's just a really good team that they just never get the credit of being a good team.
Yeah, I agree. I think Gronk is the biggest surprise of the night. I mean, even in a loss, I would have expected him to, have at least 5 catches for 80 yards, that type of performance. Seeing what, how they blanketed him, how well they did against him. Not that I'm worried necessarily, but at the same time, I don't know. It was a very Patriots performance a little bit. So I'm kind of holding out judgment exactly because Amendola did really well. Brady didn't throw 1 touchdown. I think that's bizarre. I think Gronk kind of came out flat. Man, I don't know. It was a very, very strange thing. And I actually didn't hear, did you hear what the end, what Eric Berry was? Is he out for good or because I know
I think it was Achilles. So if it's Achilles, it's pretty much probably the year then, I'm assuming.
Yeah. And that would be a huge blow to KC's defense because obviously he is a tremendous player.
Yep. And then Tyreek Hill limped off the field too, went back to the locker room. So we'll have to watch that going forward. Amendola had the concussion. So a lot of little things there. The Hill thing, hopefully that's not going to be too big of a deal because that just showed that guy's just a big play threat and he's going to be doing that all year. So hopefully he's not hurt very much. But man, another takeaway is I don't think the Patriots defense is any good. I'm not going to be concerned about playing my guys against them.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, they'll probably always be at least mid-pack because I think Belichick is just that kind of guy where he's going to figure out the best guys to play and how to kind of stifle people. But you're right. I mean, from being kind of a scary defense that they could maybe bait different quarterbacks, especially young ones, into making bad plays and being kind of more sly and slick in the way that they kind of call these schemes. I don't know. I mean, 42 points. And, it's not like you have Alex Smith behind at the helm doing this to you. Maybe it's the first game. Maybe we read too much into it. I mean, that's all you can do after, in week 1. But, I mean, the Patriots didn't look like the old Patriots. I mean, not saying that they're bad by any means. KC's a good team. But, I think they're going to have to kind of find their groove, and I think they might have to play a little bit differently than they have the past 3 years.
Yeah, absolutely. But another takeaway, before this game, if you went on Twitter, the Rex Burkhead hype was kind of getting a little crazy. And he was the first play of the game. He's the running back out there. He took the first couple snaps, and it's like, oh wow, this might actually happen. And then that was about it. I mean, nothing from Burkhead. 3 carries, 15 yards, and then 1 catch for 8 yards. So I mean, it's just kind of he might have good weeks some weeks, but some people were actually putting him in their lineups this week. It's just, I don't think you can trust it. I think the only running back you can trust is probably Gillislee, and it's only because of those touchdowns. So even James White, he had 3 catches for 30 yards, 10 carries for 38. He's probably the second best option to play at this point.
Yeah, I do too. And I think that's the biggest takeaway is, is Gillislee really going to be the touchdown vulture that Blount was? And, I think he might be. I think, after this performance, I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, not only did they only give him red zone touches, but he also succeeded when they did. So, I mean, why would you go away from that? I mean, yeah, I think the only thing that the Patriots are going to do is going to kind of put it in Tom Brady's hands more next week. But I think Gillislee is going to continue to get those reps.
Yeah, that's what I say. I wouldn't be shocked if next week Brady had 3 touchdown passes from the 2-yard line. You never know with this team. But
exactly.
But I think the main thing is people shouldn't be too crazy with what happened to week 1. It's just 1 week. If this was week 8, it would be no big deal. Some of it would be, but stuff happens. Don't worry too much if your players didn't do anything. Like Travis Kelce, he didn't do as much, but that's because everyone else was in Kansas City. They didn't need him to. His Hunt was doing everything, so he only had 5 for 40. So, not too much of a concern.
I guess that's a big question. Is there any players from this that you either would want to trade for or try to trade away now?
I mean,
obviously,
tough to say.
Obviously, Kareem Hunt, where everyone's going to want him, but he's going to be way too pricey, so you're not going to go for him. But say if anyone is trying to get rid of after this game, say Brady, Kelce, obviously I would take those
definitely
immediately.
Yep.
But what about any of the Patriots running backs? Like, if you can get any, are you looking to get rid of, say, Gillislee, for a certain price because he's going to be touchdown dependent, or you feel good moving forward with him?
Honestly, if it was me, I wouldn't mind trying to get something for Gillislee. I just don't know if you can get what it's so hard to say with him when he's it looks like he's going to be a touchdown dependent guy. But if you have somebody that really loves Gillislee out there, you get a nice return for him. I would probably do it. But you still, you need to get a running back from the Gillislee trade that you actually feel is better than Gillislee. That's pretty much it. Because it's hard in today's NFL to get rid of a guy who can just score touchdowns. That's kind of difficult too. So you have to get somebody you think's absolutely better than him. And there might be somebody out there that does that.
Yeah, and I feel completely fine moving forward with Gillislee. You hope that he's not your number 1, because I think he will have those really down weeks. But after this performance with 3 touchdowns, if there's any one of those, say probably anywhere from the 6th to 12th backs or something like that, maybe that's a little too high too. But anywhere in those, if one of those guys really falls flat in his face week 1, there's always a possibility where you could do Gillislee and, trade and get that guy, because there are going to be people that fall in love with that. Because 3 touchdowns, I tell you, is nothing to sneer at. That was one hell of a performance as far as fantasy goes. All
right. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up for the Patriots Chiefs. There's not much more to talk about from that, but Kareem Hunt, that's just so ridiculous. That's the takeaway from tonight for me. Well, I figured we might as well talk quick about a couple injury situations, mainly Odell Beckham, because I think this is going to be a big worry for people going into Sunday, especially because he plays Sunday night. So you really have to actually make a decision. And what's the latest news? Have you heard anything? It looks like 50-50 chance he plays Sunday night now. So what would you be doing? Would you take a chance and wait till Sunday night to play him? And if he doesn't play, you end up throwing in, your options are not as good. Or would you play somebody from the 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock games? What do you think you're doing there?
Well, I'll tell you, if I could possibly, I would be going on the waiver wire. Depends who you have on your roster. But right now, if 50-50, I want to play Odell, right? So I'm probably jumping on the waiver roster, or I'm hoping that I also have another guy that's playing in that same time slot, so I can wait as long as I possibly can in order to make that decision. But if you have enough talent on there where, it's not going to hurt you too bad, or you're already winning in your week, it's probably better just to play someone else. But I know me, and I would be really wanting to play Odell. So I'd probably look waivers. I'm trying to find a guy that's playing the same time as him. And then worst comes to worst, I'd just sub that guy in right before game time.
Well, basically the options are going to end up being, well, let's look at basically players that are owned in less than 50% of the ESPN leagues. Sterling Shepard, he's owned in 48% of leagues.
Which would,
he's there.
If Odell's not playing, Sterling Shepard would be a fine substitute, really.
Cole Beasley even, playing against them. If you absolutely need something there and you want to take a chance, Cole Beasley's not a terrible option, to throw in there for a last second guy. I mean, there's Terrence Williams from Cowboys. That's not a great option, but if you need something again, that's, a player you could probably use. And then let's see, Monday night games. There's Travis Benjamin from the Chargers who could be an option. And then maybe Brandon Coleman from the Saints, but that's about it. Or possibly if you can put Beckham in your flex spot, maybe Shane Vereen even. That chances are he could be available. That's not a terrible, you're not going to be maybe excited about it, but if you want to take the chance to see if Odell plays, that's what you're looking at. So I'm waiting. I'm doing it. Actually, I'm waiting. I'll be waiting till Sunday night. And if Beckham plays, great. If he doesn't, I guess I'm rolling with Brandon Coleman with the Saints. I'm sticking to my Brandon Coleman pick. I'm actually going to put my money where my mouth is.
I'll tell you, I think Brandon Coleman would be a good second, but I think personally, if you can get Sterling Shepard, I think he would be a better play. But
I think that is the better play. He is. He's not an option for me. And so I kind of hope my Brandon Marshall move would have been the play to make, but also had Mike Evans out this week, so it doesn't quite work. But yeah, if you're a team, maybe you're in a 2 wide receiver league and you do have Beckham and Marshall, and then it's easy for you. You just throw Marshall in for Beckham if that's what you can do. If he's your third, maybe that could make life very easy for you. But other than that, there's really not a lot else going on unless you have anything else, Jeff.
No, I'm just excited to be back, baby. It's fun. NFL's good. Back to go.
I was too until Kareem Hunt went nuts on my team tonight. So yeah.
Well, I
know how that's now.
I had Gillislee in our main league going against our reigning champ. So, John, if you're listening, suck a big one, buddy.
Yeah, man. All right, at least that happened. I need him to lose. So.
I know, right?
All right. Well, we'll be back next week with some more episodes. I think we'll probably be putting out a Monday episode maybe this week. Maybe we'll jump on here Sunday night, talk about the games, get that out for you guys, have some more instant reaction, because I bet there'll be a lot of stuff going on that we will not be expecting. So we will talk to you guys next week.